Hi friends, how are you? Welcome back to my channel, and we are finally back with a real dramatic fanfiction recommendation today. And in today's video, we are going to talk about our most favorite type of Draco in this whole fandom, and that is the Draco. I think I have shared with you guys that I feel like Dramione is in its most glorious form in wartime story, because it's where we get to see that enemy to lover popping, we get to experience that thrill, that suspense, that cliffhanger, and we get to see someone who is so overpowered as the High Reeve making his appearance. So the story that I'm going to share with you guys today are not the story where he defected and worked and fought alongside with Harry and the rest of the Order of Phoenix, but these are the story where he spy, he worked on both sides, and where his occupations are in display. Of course, these are not the only story where Draco's profession is displayed in amazing details in this fandom, but these are the story that I have had a chance to experience and I have fell in love with. And so if you have anything else to add, please do not hesitate to drop in a comment down below so that your fellow reader can also experience those greatness as well. But without further ado, let's get started with our video for today.
I feel like I'm losing my mind.
I feel like it's gonna be really bad of me not to open this video and any other wartime story Voldemort wins video without mentioning our god, and that is Medical by Sending You. If you have not heard about this story, which I doubt, this is a Voldemort win wartime alternative universe story where Harry and the Order of Phoenix has fought at the Battle of Hogwarts, and Hermione is now a prisoner of war and she is held captive at the High Reeve's residence because her mind is in possession of some secret that the Dark Lord deemed necessary for his cause. It has more than 370,000 words with 77 chapters, and let me just tell you, this is a story that you will not forget. No matter how big it is, this is a story that will be engraved in your brain forever. It will be etched to your heart, and it will be a story that occupies your mind long after you have read it, and you will have the worst fanfiction hungover with this story. There is just no word that I can produce that can describe this story. I don't really want to talk about Medical because I feel like it's just beyond me to cast like an opinion, a review, a summary on this type of story. This is just something that you just have to go out there and experience it for yourself, and maybe you will understand finally why I am like this. I believe that this is just the most well-read, most well-recommended, and the most well-loved fanfiction in the whole dramatic fanfiction world, and not without any reason. This is just a story that is top-notch in any way and every way that you can think of. The writing, the characterization, the world building, the detail, the moment, the love share between Draco and Hermione, and of course the plot line. It will just be mind-blowing to you until the very end, and finally when all the dots connected, you will feel so hollow in your heart, and you would want to feel it right away by reading the whole story all over again. And that's exactly how I feel reading this story. If you want to read a true that it's a Draco story, this is going to be a perfect start for you. Yes, it's gonna wreck you forever. It's gonna leave you in so much pain that you will not be able to continue on to any other story in this list, but it's give you the best That Is a Draco that you can find on the market, period. The next story we're going to talk about is my personal favorite version of the High Reeve Draco, and that is Uncuffed by Lady of Gloom. This once again is a Voldemort win alternative wartime story, but it's not your typical wartime story where you see a lot of actions, a lot of battle going on in the detail. This story kind of stray away from the battle, and it's allow you to see a war after the war is over and Voldemort is ruling. It gives you an entrance to a very bleak war where Muggleborn has no place, and Half-Blood has to live in a concentration camp and has to get paperwork and everything. It's very hard for anyone to get jobs or money, and Hermione is staying with the remainder of the Weasley family, but everyone has to alter their appearance in order to survive. And because they're not pure blood, it's very hard for them to come by food or money or medicines or any of those type of necessities, so a lot of younger has to turn themselves into sex worker in order to provide for themselves. And so by twist and turn, by chance and fate, Hermione and Draco reunite, but of course Draco doesn't know that Hermione is Hermione because of her altered appearance. And so we get to see their story from that point on. And to me, this is just a perfect wartime story because, as I said in one of my videos before, that when I first started reading dramatic fanfiction, I kind of indulged myself in many wartime stories, but as I go on and on with reading dramatic fanfiction, I feel more emotionally attached to Draco and Hermione. It's very hard for me to continue reading wartime story because I want to enjoy a story without fearing, without so much anxiety for my two lovebirds. And so this to me is a perfect wartime story. It still gives me that glimpse of enemy to lover. It still gives me that thrill and suspense and cliffhangers without me fearing too much for the safety of them. Just like Medical, this is a story where it's also top-notch in any way that you can think of. The characterization of Draco in here is my personal favorite. He's a very conflicted character, and the author did a very good way to streamline those conflicts that Draco experienced through the eyes of Hermione, and we get to see those details from her own eyes, which to me makes a lot more impact to this type of story than anything else. This is one of those stories where after you finish this, you just wish for another chapter. You just wish to see them being happy together just for a little bit more. But of course, I don't have any complaint about the ending or anything about this story at all. And don't quote me on this, but I think this is a story where Sailor you draw the idea for the high reeve for Manacle. And so if you need that little push to start uncuffing by Lady of Gloom, you've gotten it. The next story I cannot stop talking about, and that is One of the Monsters by Malfoy. Malfoy is my absolutely favorite author in the whole Draconian fandom. I've said it numerous of times before, and will I ever stop saying it? No. In One of the Monsters, it's just among the best dramatic story that I have ever read, ever, period. And I am very surprised to see One of the Monsters not being recommended more and more in this fandom. This is once again not your typical wartime story because we do not have Harry win or Voldemort win in this story. This is just a scenario where the war dragged on and on and on and on for years later after the Battle of Hogwarts, and Draco starting to doubt himself, his positions in the whole Voldemort regime, and his involvement with the war. And this story has probably the best synopsis that I have ever gone to encounter in any dramatic story ever. And of course I will read it to you guys, and it say that was a funny thing. It was like a tick, harmless on the surface, but when it buried in deep, extremely dangerous. For Draco Malfoy, successful Death Eater, ruthless soldier, and proud pureblood, it may just be his downfall. It's a one-line synopsis that caught my entire attention and more. This story is very short. It only has a little bit more than 32,000 words in 9 chapters, but this story will just satisfy you. This story is just top-notch in any way that you can think of. And I know that I just used the same description to talk about Manacle and Uncuffing, but I just want you to know that with Manacle, I have stuff to complain about with that story. But One of the Monsters is just perfect. Period. I do not have any buts, any however with this story. It's probably just the best story that I have ever read in this fandom. The writing, the characterization, the details, and the plot line, everything would just be so expensive, and at the end I was just wondering why I get to read this piece for free on the internet. Why am I experiencing this talent for free? I will say this once again, but please, if you do not want to read anything else in this video, please just give One of the Monsters a shot, because it will not take much of your time, but it will be a story that you would never ever forget, truly. The next story that I'm going to recommend is Draconian by Noelle, and I know that this author used a couple different pen names, so if you know the other pen name that this author used, please go ahead and comment it down below so that your fellow readers do not find any troubles looking for this story. And this story is, I believe, has won some kind of best fanfiction award, so you can expect greatness with this story. This is once again a Voldemort alternative universe wartime story where Harry and the rest of the Order of Phoenix had gone into hiding, and Draco has to kill his way through the ring after his mother betrayal at the Battle of Hogwarts. But on the side, he is in contact with Andromeda Tongue, an Order member. She has given him a secret or a task, that is, find Hermione Granger, who is missing, because she is the key to overturn the course of this whole war. But when he finally found Granger 3 years later in a basement of a safe house, she's no Hermione Granger at all. She doesn't even remember anything about Harry. She doesn't even remember the war or anything at all. No one except Draco Malfoy. She remembers him and no one else. So he is faced with this dilemma. Should he send her back to the Order of Phoenix and let her be dealt with, or should he keep her safe in the world ruled by Draconian law, his own law? This is one of the stories that I have just read recently, just this past summer, and to me this story is very surprising. This story is, to me, not extreme in any way. The writing, the character development, the detail, or the love share between Draco and Hermione, nothing is really extreme to me, but I love it so much all the same. and to me it's kind of like a puzzle. Any pieces of this puzzle kind of fit together to create a very wholesome and balanced story for you guys to read. And to me, the reading experience of this story is just top notch. I really don't know how to describe it. When a story is good, it's not amazing, mind-blowing good, but it touched your deepest corner of your heart all the same. Would that work? If you want to read a true Death Eater Draco story, I would recommend the first 3 story over this one, because you don't get to see Draco being a Death Eater a lot in this story. You kind of see more that softer on the side Draco. I will burn the world down, but I will be so soft to you kind of Draco in this story. So that if that's what you're looking for when you look for Death Eater Draco, this story is going to be perfect for you. But if you want to see a lot more of his professions, his occupation, this story is not it. But if you love a Slytherin gang up with Hermione, this story is going to be perfect. I love this story. I have nothing to complain about this story, and like I say, it's not extreme in any way, but it's extremely lovely to me. That's savvy. And last but definitely not least, we have Shadow of Ourselves by Ink Fairy, and this is going to be the most unique wartime story that you will see on this list. You just have to promise me you read this sometime. In this story, Draco is a spy. He plays on both sides, and Voldemort has given him a task: bring him Hermione Granger or die. So what do? He marries Hermione Granger, and they work together as a team as Mr. and Mrs. Malfoy. And if that synopsis doesn't rope you in, I don't know what will, because I just love to see a story where Draco and Hermione work together, with Hermione being on the other side. Not, you know, Draco with the Order, but I want to see Hermione with the Dark Lord. And that to me just paint a very interesting reading experience, and this story deliver. This is again one of the wartime story that doesn't make me feel like I'm sitting on fire reading it, and the writing in this story is just beautiful. If you are someone who play chess, who love playing chess, this story is going to be perfect with capital letters for you. For me, someone who doesn't know how to play chess, doesn't play chess at all, I appreciate all the detail in this story, so I cannot wonder for those of you who love playing chess and get to experience this story, the terminology entwined in this story, and how we get to see those chapters turn out are just chef kiss. And I just love the love shared by Draco and Hermione in this. Nothing is overboard, nothing is even visible at all, but it's so deep. And a lot is said without saying anything at all, and isn't that my favorite love that Draco and Hermione share in this fandom forever. This story is just dark and deep and beautiful, and what I'm trying to say is that you will have a very amazing time reading this story without feeling like you are in so much fear for their safety. And the last story I put in this video as a bonus is Dragon in the Dark by Graceful Lioness, because at the beginning of the video I said that these stories that I will recommend in this video today are not going to be the one where he defected and worked alongside the Order of Phoenix, but going to be the one where he is a Death Eater in his full glory. But in this story he defects to the Order of Phoenix, but there's a but. He used his skills all the same. And I love how this author writes about his skill, display his skill, depict his skill, portray his skill, whatever you want to call it in this story. I just love those details. And if you are in this video for a story where Draco's professions or occupation or job is in full displays, I want to give this to you guys. And just go ahead and read this story if that is your thing. And that is the end to our Death Eater Draco video. I know that this is a shorter video, but as you can see, we have very big contenders in this video. And I try to put recommendation that is on par with the pillars in the Kingdom of the Draconian fanfiction Manacle in this video, so that you guys have a very balanced reading experience throughout the video. And truly, some of these videos that I mentioned in this video are my absolute favorite in the Draconian fanfiction fandom. So you would not have a bad time with the recommendation that I share in this video at all. I promise you that. And happy reading, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.